we are getting a really quick first look at what our pieces, the RPCSS system, will look like. As you can see, we've got the Chimeric map showing in the background, and David explained that this was just a landing page. So if you're
landing page, the start of the landing page, it's not done.
If you're looking at it with us as we scroll, you're going to see a lot of, blah, 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 blahs going on.
A lot of blah, blah text.
Yeah, this is, placeholders. And these are team members, I assume. This will show when we log in who's a member of the team, or will this show everybody in the campaign?
No, this just shows who's building this.
Oh, okay.
This is the team that has brought this to you.
Yeah, okay. So this is our programming team.
Right.
Wow, I got to go first. You spelled my name wrong.
No, I didn't.
There's only one N in Brandwin.
You have a Brandwin with two N's.
No, that's not my real account, though.
But you have one.
No, you're making that shit up. All right, so
I'll fix it for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love you very much. Goodbye.
I can fix it. It is possible.
Okay, so... And it won't cost me $6 million.
No, it won't.
So where are we going from here? Don't drag this out. These people don't want to listen to our bullshit.
All right. So, from here, none of the learn more or details links does anything yet. There's no thing to learn more yet. That content hasn't been written. But you can register and you can log in.
And so we're going to log in.
Right. So we'll go ahead and log in. And brings you to the login page.
So we're going to type in our name, which is admin. And then
currently,
you've got this little drop-down thing that comes with whatever.
It automatically pops in our password for us because we're lazy.
Okay, so this is our dashboard screen.
This is our dashboard screen.
So if you guys are familiar with how this process works, because I've put it up, I put it up with little text boxes all over the war room in Chimeric, it'll tell you that you get 2 actions each. And this is kind of what the responses might look like. It might say you were attacked and defeated. If you were upgrading fortifications, it would tell you it was constructed. Somebody has asked for an alliance request. Now, this is an important one. When these alliance requests come in, this is not Sans roleplay alliance request. This is simply the system supporting the roleplay that you have already done.
Correct.
And he's got a bad mouth. He's pretending to be Terralf. So that's why they're swearing in this.
Okay. Well, this is not PG-13.
No PG-13. Yay.
It's
so
not PG-13,
will there be pillaging?
There will always be pillaging.
Fantastic. So it also says that our army has moved without incident. And without incident means that it has not been interrupted and a fight started.
No fights along the way to get where it was going.
And it tells us we had 3 actions submitted. It tells us what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually. So this is where most people will spend their day. Well, not their day, but their 15 minutes a week is checking out their dashboard.
Correct, right. Because also below here is going to be a version of the map.
And when you say below here, you mean in this big blank space here.
That's correct. In that big blank space, there's going to be a version of the map showing, which shows you your hexes, status of things, so that it'll be a quick look area to go and get a good quick look at stuff.
Okay, fantastic. Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting before we started recording this was you showing me how the hexes get set up. So can we kind of navigate there? I know we started with campaigns.
Yeah. If you go into site administration.
This
is only for admins. This is obviously not for players.
So this is to... Basically me, primarily, I have this control over it, and whoever I give admin authority to. When we open this game up to other people with other fictions and other settings, say Torvald's Langor or Game of Thrones, they would set up their own campaigns.
Correct, right.
So this is the overall campaign, and that's why this campaign is called Chimeric, because that's the campaign we're starting with.
Correct, right.
So Chimeric has a name and a description. This section here with Add a Kingdom is being revamped and taken out. And these role names on the side for Warlord, Coinmaster, and Spymaster, these are moving to the individual faction pages.
Right, so that the individual factions can give custom names to those roles if they want.
So we can have, like, Turolf can be like Lord Warthog.
Correct, exactly.
Okay,
yes.
And you could be our beloved furry monster.
Grand Poobah.
Grand Poobah, so whatever we want.
I totally want to be Grand Poobah.
You want to be Grand Poobah? Okay, all right, so that's wonderful. And this max messages per turn is basically saying how many messages within the game are you going to allow from player to player. And that'll depend on how much you as a campaign owner want to do, whether or not you don't want to allow any internal messages at all, and they have to do everything in roleplay, or if you're going to allow oh shit, please send somebody a message that I'm going to be AFK. Obviously, they can thwart the system and use email or Skype or what have you,
right,
but
obviously.
We have no control over that.
Right.
So we're going to go to edit campaign map.
That's where the map is.
And look how pretty my map is.
Oh, and you can grab it and scroll around.
I can scroll around? Okay.
Yeah, it's just like Google Maps.
Wow. Wow. And there's lots of different settings on these maps and what it shows. What we're looking at right now is what the campaign editor would use to set up the map. Because the map is just a graphic at this point.
Right.
We don't have sailing implemented, so you'd have to set this up as being water, for example.
Right. This is how you go in and set what the different hexes actually are, their type of hex, if somebody already owns them,
gotcha,
etc.
And so if I wanted this area to be impassable or out of the game, impassable means out of the game. You can't go through it.
Right, you can't move into that hex.
Because we're not actually playing that. You can't travel there. We would turn that off. Apparently, we can also set its fortification, whether it's a stronghold or a castle.
Correct.
And in setting up the games, our game's going to start with everybody just getting one hex when they start. But other campaigns may start with multiple hexes.
Right, maybe you have a whole region of hexes to start.
And those can be pre-set up by who's ever running the campaign.
Right.
Okay, is there anything else here you want to show us? Or is this pretty much the basics?
That's pretty much what's here.
Okay.
You can also go, if you go back to Comric, you can also edit the factions.
Okay.
But that's not a very pretty page yet. It's very
all right.
basic.
Well, hey.
The ability to add, remove, and edit factions.
So each of you guys who are faction leaders, I would come in here and add your faction, and then we would be able to assign players to those factions. Also, there was something under Manage Account, right?
Yes, there's a profile page.
So we're going to go over here and look at this profile page.
So this is your profile as a player. Some of this information, I think, all of these fields over here under character details are just free text. You can put in whatever you want.
So it's basically so people kind of know who you are, like who was such and such again. And I think we'll probably end up adding, at the bottom you see there's a Second Life account here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a verification step. And that will be important to make sure that people are using their Second Life account. They're not just dummying up accounts and making multiple accounts to cause problems. Now, they can't automatically join a faction and get control, so it doesn't really matter too much. But this is about making sure we have some accountability to one account.
It's about accountability, making sure that we know this user is this person in Second Life.
Gotcha. Okay. And if we passed this out to something like World of Warcraft, we would do a different methodology.
Correct. Right.
All right,
and
so
you can upload a user image. You can actually click on it there if you want. I'll pop up the download thing.
Okay, very cool.
Same with the editing of the details. It just pops up another window to edit your details there if you want.
All right, very cool. Very cool. When do you think we're going to be able to hit alpha for this? What's your schedule for alpha?
Hoping to start alpha February 5th.
And what are the expectations that we're going to have for alpha? What kind of players do you need? What expectations should they have of the system at that stage?
Well, I would say that the expectations are It's not going to look completely pretty yet.
I think it looks pretty already.
Some of it, I agree.
You did a good job.
Some of it, I agree, but it's not all pretty yet. I'm hoping to have at least the majority of actions in there.
And majority means we're going to have at least 3 or 4 for each of the roles.
For each of the roles,
and
right.
Certainly combat should have its primary role so we can practice moving and claiming hexes and stuff like that.
Correct, so that you can claim hexes and stuff.
Now, we discussed when you were doing this, you were going to start and we were going to have, instead of this rolling and having the cycle repeat every week, normally the system is designed so that you have to submit actions by the end of the week on Sunday night.
Correct.
And everything runs over Sunday night for reports on Monday. But because it's alpha, you're going to be running this regularly.
Correct, yes. It's going to run more than once a week because we want to get as many cycles in as we can for the alpha test. So I definitely don't want it to take a complete week just for one
testing.
cycle.
So I think we talked about Central Standard Time being 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock being those runs.
Correct.
And on the weekends, again, Central Standard Time, because we're in Texas, will be 12, 3, 6, 9.
Correct.
So we're looking for players that are able to be on to get at least one set of actions in per day, and hopefully, 2 or 3 actions in if at all possible.
Right.
So we are looking at this time for probably standard work hour Central Standard Time players. So you get home, you're able to access it. This will have a mobile application at some point, right? But
probably
yet.
Not for alpha. Probably not for
certainly.
alpha.
Okay, so
but there will be a mobile version that will look well on mobile as well.
So we're going to be sending out the alpha app, and we're going to be asking people to prepare to join up for alpha. The goals will be to crash the system.
Correct. Also, one of the major goals will also be making sure that the process of entering your actions works. Making sure that the end results of your actions are correct and work. So some of the expectations of the players will be, test out doing different types of actions. Don't come into this trying to win. Come into this trying to do as much as you can.
Gotcha.
In order to flex the system.
We'll be testing gameplay in beta.
Correct. Gameplay will really be tested in the beta.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very excited about this. This is my first time I've had a chance to see the system. He's been at it for months. There was a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on. Do you think you could share with us some of what came into it? Because certainly from a non-programmer standpoint, I look at it and I go, it doesn't look like you've been doing much, Stu. What have you been doing? Sitting on your computer? And I've been watching porn?
Well, nothing quite that glorified.
Okay, so...
Yeah, most of it has been putting together databases. A lot of it has been coming up with the look and feel of the HTML for the web pages. That's been a big portion of it.
Loading that map in so it's hex clickable. I heard
creating the map. Yes, creating the map to be interactive and clickable so that I can select hexes and have things fire off in response to that, and being able to show graphics on the map and stuff like that was not a necessarily easy task. I did use, it uses a open source mapping library called Leaflet, which provides a lot of that functionality, but I did have to build the hex grid on top of it, being able to select the hex grid, stuff interacting with that, showing graphics for units and stuff on the map and stuff like that. I had to add all in, and that took a while.
Why are you excited about this program? Why did you decide to come home every day after working 40, 45 hours a week and sit and program something completely new? What made you be motivated? Because nobody's paying you to do this. I mean, I throw occasionally a caramel at you, but that's about it.
Right. Yeah, occasionally get some coffee. Well, I really just wanted to do a web project like this. I've never done a web project of this scope. I've done little websites And I've done, obviously, things of larger scope that were not web-based.
Well, when you say that, it's not obvious to our listeners. David Bain, as you may know him, is a senior systems analyst programming primarily in C# for Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad down here in Fort Worth, Texas. He works on programming the safety systems mandated by the government for trains. And so he's been doing that now almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And so he's got a lot of experience in the back end, but doing this front end was new and why you were so excited.
Correct, right. Yeah, I wanted to see if I could do it, go through the experience, get some experience with it. And
so you're hoping people will be patient with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There is that.
Why did you choose this project? I mean, you're a role player. What in your background made you say, of all the things I want to do this?
Well, we've obviously dealt with Terolf for quite a while, and we were involved in his original incarnation of Gurians at War.
I remember that.
And
Painfully.
I loved the concept of it. The iteration of it didn't quite work out. People didn't like the having to go somewhere and do it in real time and having to interact with other people in that way.
There's a lot of rules that were hard to remember.
You had to roll dice. You had to do all this stuff, and it was very time consuming, and so it just did not take off at all. But I liked the idea of it, and when Terolf kind of threw the idea out there, I was like, well, wait a minute. We might be able to do this in a much more automated and potentially more fun fashion.
Well, certainly, just looking at this dashboard, it looks much more straightforward than all of those note cards I had to read for Gurians at War.
Right.
I assume that the process of choosing your actions is going to be pretty straightforward. Could you walk us through what you think those steps are going to be?
Well, obviously, it'll depend on the action that you're doing.
Let's pick a basic action.
Okay, so moving an army.
Okay.
All right, that's an action that your warlord can do. He can move your armies around. Likely, what you will have in that instance is you'll see your map, and you'll be able to say, okay, I want to move the army in this hex. You'll be able to select the hex. Down below, it'll show you any armies that you have in that hex, and you can select one, and then it'll say, okay, choose the destination hex of where you want to move to. And then you pick the hex on the map of where you want that army to actually go to, and it'll figure out the path of getting there, and then you say submit.
All right, that seems pretty straightforward. And we see here, the response you get back is your army has reached X hex without incident.
Right. Those notifications will go out at the end of the turn.
Okay.
At the end of the cycle, everybody, all the interactions will be done, and then notifications will be sent out about all.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more questions. I don't want to keep you up much later. But thank you very much for showing us this. I will get this up on YouTube for everybody to take a look at. And again, if you're interested in alpha and you think you have that time, please make sure you're in our RP simulation group. I'll post that link down at the bottom of the YouTube page, and that you're ready to get going on February 5th.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.